Hey everyone, welcome back to English Between Us. I'm Erika.
And I'm Andy. Thanks for joining us today.
So Andy, I had the most interesting conversation yesterday with my friend Maria. She's been trying to learn English for about 6 months now, and she's getting so frustrated.
Oh no, what happened?
She told me she feels like her brain just doesn't work the way it used to. She said, when I was a kid, learning was so easy. Now everything feels impossible.
I hear that all the time. People think they're too old to learn a new language.
Exactly. And the thing is, she's actually doing really well. She can have basic conversations, she understands a lot when people talk to her, but she keeps comparing herself to how kids learn.
That's the problem right there. Adults and children learn completely differently. It's not about being too old or your brain not working, it's about expectations.
Yes, and you know what's funny? I told her that adults actually have some huge advantages that kids don't have.
Really? Like what?
Well, adults already know how language works. You understand grammar concepts from your first language, you know how to study, you can make connections that a 5-year-old can't make.
That's so true. Kids might pick up pronunciation faster, but adults can understand the why behind things, which is actually super powerful.
Actually, that's kind of funny because that's what we're talking about today, right?
Exactly. Today we're talking about why learning English as an adult feels harder than it really is.
And this is important because so many people give up too early. They think they're failing when they're actually making progress.
Right. And here's the thing. If you understand why it feels hard, you can change your approach and suddenly it becomes so much easier.
Think about it for a second. Have you ever felt like you're too old to learn English, or like learning was easier when you were younger? If that sounds familiar, this episode is for you.
We're going to break down the myths, show you what's really happening in your brain, and give you practical ways to make adult language learning actually work.
So stay with us.
All right, let's start with some vocabulary that comes up when we talk about learning as an adult.
First one, frustration. This is that feeling when something is difficult and you want to give up. You feel frustrated.
Yeah, like when you study for hours but still can't remember the words. That's frustration.
Do you ever feel frustrated when you're learning something new?
Oh, all the time. I get frustrated when I try to learn anything. Languages, instruments, cooking. It's normal.
Same here. But here's the thing. Frustration is actually a sign that you're learning. Your brain is working hard.
That's a good point. Next word, fluent. Everyone wants to be fluent, but what does it really mean?
Fluent means you can speak smoothly and naturally without stopping to think too much about every word.
Right. But here's the problem. People think fluent means perfect. It doesn't.
Exactly. I'm fluent in English, but I still make mistakes sometimes. I still forget words. That's normal.
You know what I mean? Fluency is about communication, not perfection.
Another important word, progress. Progress is improvement over time. You're making progress even if you can't see it every day.
That's huge. People expect to see progress every single day, but language learning doesn't work like that.
Right. Some weeks you improve a lot. Some weeks it feels like nothing's happening. But if you compare yourself to 3 months ago, you'll see the progress.
Let's talk about mindset. Your mindset is your attitude, the way you think about things.
And this is so important for adult learners. If you have a negative mindset, I'm too old, I can't do this, learning becomes harder.
But if you have a growth mindset, I'm learning, I'm improving, mistakes are okay, everything gets easier.
I love that. What about compare? This is a dangerous verb for language learners.
Oh yeah, when you compare yourself to native speakers or to other learners, you usually feel bad.
Exactly. You might compare your speaking to someone who's been studying for 10 years. That's not fair to yourself.
Really? Even when you know they've studied longer?
Yes, because in the moment, you just feel bad. You don't think logically about it.
That's so true. I compare myself to people all the time, even when I know it's not helpful.
Here's another one, consistent. Being consistent means doing something regularly, every day or every week.
And consistency is more important than intensity. Studying 15 minutes every day is better than studying 3 hours once a week.
You know what's funny? Most adults know this, but we still try to cram everything into one long study session.
I know, right? We know consistency works, but we're not consistent.
Let's talk about overwhelmed. This is a feeling when there's too much to do and you don't know where to start.
Adult learners feel overwhelmed all the time. There are so many words, so many grammar rules, so much to study.
And that's another thing that makes learning feel harder than it really is. You try to learn everything at once.
Instead of just focusing on what you need right now.
Exactly. One more, realistic. Having realistic expectations means understanding what's actually possible.
Like, it's not realistic to expect to be fluent in 3 months. That's too much pressure.
But it is realistic to expect to have simple conversations after 3 months of consistent practice.
See the difference? Realistic goals make learning feel easier. Unrealistic goals make you feel like a failure.
Now let's practice some phrases you can use when talking about your language learning journey.
How do you tell someone you're learning English?
You can say, I'm learning English or I'm studying English. Both work.
You can also add why. I'm learning English because I want to travel. Or I'm studying English for my job.
Let's do a quick role play. Andy, are you learning any languages?
Actually, yes. I'm learning Spanish. I've been studying for about 6 months now.
Oh, cool. How's it going?
It's going okay. Some days are better than others. I could understand a lot, but speaking is still hard for me.
That's totally normal. Speaking is the hardest part.
See, that was natural. He said, I'm learning Spanish, then I've been studying for about 6 months, and then gave an honest answer about his progress.
Another useful phrase, I'm making progress. You can use this when someone asks how your English is going.
Or you can say, I'm getting better, or I'm improving.
How do you talk about difficulties? You can say, I'm struggling with. For example, I'm struggling with pronunciation, or I'm struggling with grammar.
You can also say, I find something difficult, like I find listening comprehension difficult.
Let's try another exchange. Andy, how's your Spanish going?
Honestly, I'm struggling with the verb conjugations. There are so many forms to remember.
I totally get that. Spanish verbs are tricky. Are you using any apps or books?
Yeah, I'm using an app every day, and I'm also watching some Spanish shows with subtitles.
That's great. Consistency is key.
Perfect. Notice how we talked naturally about challenges without being negative. That's important.
Another way to ask is, what's the hardest part for you? Or, what do you find most challenging?
And you can also share encouragement. You're doing great, or keep it up, or don't give up. Let's talk about some expressions you'll hear when people discuss learning.
First one, it's a marathon, not a sprint. What does that mean?
It means learning takes time. You can't rush it. It's like running a long race, not a short one.
Can you give me an example?
Sure. Don't try to learn everything in 1 week. Learning a language is a marathon, not a sprint.
Perfect. That's such good advice. Adults often try to sprint through learning, but it doesn't work that way.
Next expression, Rome wasn't built in a day.
Oh, I love this one. It means that great things take time. You can't expect instant results.
So, if someone is frustrated that they're not fluent yet, you might say, be patient with yourself. Rome wasn't built in a day.
Exactly. You know what's interesting? These expressions exist in almost every language because everyone knows that learning takes time.
But we still forget it when we're the ones learning.
True. Another one. Practice makes perfect.
Everyone knows this one. It means that the more you practice, the better you get.
But here's the thing. I don't love this expression because it focuses on perfect, and perfection isn't the goal.
That's a good point. I prefer practice makes progress instead.
Oh, I like that. Same idea, but less pressure.
One more. Use it or lose it. This means if you don't practice something, you'll forget it.
This is so true with languages. If you study English but never speak or listen, you'll lose what you learned.
Can you give me an example?
Sure. I studied French in school, but I never used it, so I forgot everything. Use it or lose it.
That's perfect. And it's a good reminder to practice regularly.
Let's practice some conversations. Let's pretend we're both learning English and we meet at a language class.
Okay, here we go.
Hi, I'm Erika. Is this your first time in this class?
Hi, Erika. I'm Andy. Yeah, it's my first day. I'm a little nervous, to be honest.
Don't worry, everyone's really nice here. How long have you been learning English?
About a year now, but I still feel like I'm making so many mistakes.
Tell me about it. I've been studying for 2 years and I still struggle with speaking naturally.
Really? Your English sounds great to me.
Thanks. But in my head, I'm always translating from my language. It feels slow.
I know, right? I do the same thing. Do you practice outside of class?
I try to. I watch English shows and listen to podcasts. What about you?
I use an app every morning, and I'm trying to read simple books in English.
That's awesome. We should practice together sometime.
I'd love that.
See how natural that was? We talked about our struggles, encouraged each other, and made a plan to practice together. All very normal conversation topics.
And notice how we both admitted we're not perfect. That actually makes the conversation more real and more comfortable. Now let's pretend you're talking to a native speaker who asks about your English learning. So, Erika, I heard you're learning English. How's that going?
It's going well, but it's definitely challenging. Some days I feel confident, and other days I feel like I don't know anything.
That's totally normal. How long have you been studying?
About 1.5 years. I can understand a lot now, but speaking is still hard.
What do you find most difficult about speaking?
I think it's the speed. When I'm writing, I have time to think, but when I'm speaking, I have to think fast and I get nervous.
I totally get that. Have you tried practicing with conversation partners?
Not yet, but I know I should. I'm just worried about making mistakes in front of people.
Don't worry about mistakes. Everyone makes them. Even native speakers make mistakes all the time.
That actually makes me feel better. Thanks.
No problem. Keep practicing. You're doing great.
Perfect. That's a realistic conversation where someone shares their fears and gets encouragement.
And notice the phrase, I totally get that. It's a great way to show empathy and understanding.
One more scenario. Let's talk about why adult learning feels hard. Andy, do you ever feel like you're too old to learn new things?
Sometimes, yeah, especially when I see kids picking up languages so quickly. It makes me think my brain doesn't work as well anymore.
But that's not really true, you know? Adults and kids learn differently, but adults have advantages too.
Like what?
Well, you already understand how grammar works. You can make connections between languages. You know how to study effectively.
Huh. I never thought about it that way.
Kids are good at imitation, and they're not afraid of making mistakes. But adults are good at understanding patterns and using logic.
That makes sense. So it's not that I'm too old, it's just a different process.
Exactly. The problem is we compare ourselves to kids or to people who've been studying for 10 years.
Yeah, I do that all the time. I watch videos of people speaking perfect English and think, why can't I do that?
But you don't know their story. Maybe they lived in an English-speaking country for 5 years. Maybe they've been studying since they were children.
You're right. I need to focus on my own progress, not compare myself to others.
Exactly. And remember, learning is a marathon, not a sprint.
I know, right? I need to be more patient with myself.
See how we just used all that vocabulary and those expressions naturally? That's how real conversations about learning sound.
So how can you use this topic in small talk?
It's actually perfect for breaking the ice. If you meet someone who's also learning English, you can ask, how long have you been learning English? Or, what's the hardest part for you?
And this creates connection because you're both in the same situation.
Exactly. You agree and then add something, right? For example, person A says, I find grammar really difficult. Person B says, I know, right? Me too, especially verb tenses.
See how that keeps the conversation going? You don't just say yeah and stop, you add your own experience.
Another small talk tip, don't be afraid to talk about your struggles. People appreciate honesty.
Right. If someone asks, how's your English? You don't have to say, it's great, if it's not. You can say, I'm making progress, but it's challenging.
And that's actually more interesting. It opens up the conversation for questions like, what are you struggling with? Or how are you practicing?
You know what's funny? When you admit you're struggling, other people often share their own struggles too.
Exactly. It creates a real connection. We've been talking for a while now about why learning English as an adult feels harder than it really is.
Yeah, we covered a lot. We talked about the difference between how adults and kids learn, the importance of having realistic expectations, and why comparing yourself to others makes everything feel harder.
We also went through useful vocabulary like frustration, fluent, progress, mindset, consistent, overwhelmed, and realistic.
And some great expressions like, it's a marathon, not a sprint, Rome wasn't built in a day, and use it or lose it.
Remember, the biggest thing is this. Learning as an adult isn't harder because you're too old. It feels harder because you're comparing yourself to the wrong things.
Kids take years to become fluent in their first language, and they're fully immersed in it every single day. You're learning a second language while working, taking care of responsibilities, and living a full life.
That's actually amazing when you think about it.
Exactly. So cut yourself some slack. Mistakes are how we learn. Slow progress is still progress.
Just pick one or two things from today. Maybe focus on being more consistent, or on having more realistic goals, or on not comparing yourself to others.
And practice a little bit every day, even if it's just 10 or 15 minutes. Consistency beats intensity every time.
We'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment and tell us, what's the biggest challenge you face learning English as an adult, and what's one thing that's helped you keep going?
We read every comment, and your experiences help other learners feel less alone.
If you enjoyed this episode and want more real conversations about English learning, like this video, subscribe to English Between Us, turn on the notifications so you never miss a lesson.
And keep practicing, keep learning. And remember, you're not too old, you're not failing, and you're making more progress than you realize.
Every conversation is progress, even if it doesn't feel perfect.
Thanks so much for spending this time with us.
Bye, everyone.
Goodbye.